It's just a wonderful broadside, an important relic of history, and the world changed when the first people looked at this very document. I think this could go for...
That's what I want to hear, man. I will let you know what happens, man. I mean, thanks for coming in. I think I'll pass on this one, but how much are these?
They tick all the boxes. They have a great name, great maker, great condition, and they're beautiful. They're works of art.
So how much is the wheel lock?
A call about a particular item can get Rick hitting the road. This time he received a call from his buddy, who claimed to have something special in store for him. Rick arrives in London to see what Alex, his buddy, is up to. I'm excited to see how it all goes.
An armor dealer here in London, and we're gonna go in there, we're gonna take a look. Maybe I'll buy something, maybe I won't, but it's gonna be a fun day.
Rick, meet the Finers. Peter's the father. Rolly and Red also work with him, much like I work with my father. And in fact, Peter and my father have been friends for about 40 years.
Cool. Alex introduces Rick to this fine antique arms and armor store run by a family. They deal with many royal things, especially from Roman and Greek times. Interesting. But what in particular do they want to show Rick? Let's see if Rick will be impressed.
A lot of the pieces here have fascinating provenance, some of which is royal. One of the pieces I'd like to show you guys is this pair of pistols here by John Christie.
That is some crazy work.
Made in Scottish style by a Scot.
I'm very curious to find out. It seems somewhat like a pistol, but not just any pistol. Guys, this pistol isn't made to fire bullets. It was merely designed to look good. Redmond goes in to explain more to Rick and Alex.
Tower of London proof mark, which was mostly done for royal pieces.
Okay.
What are they made out of? I'm assuming steel barrels?
They're all steel, and then these are gilt brass stocks.
Great. However, Alex needs to be sure that they are actually Scottish. In the midst of all this, an item catches Rick's attention, a staghorn pistol.
What's that one right there, the ivory one?
It's not ivory, no, that's staghorn. So this is made in 1600, and it's made for the Saxon court in Germany. It's one of only a few that have ever come onto the art market. This is a walnut stock that's inlaid with staghorn.
He seems tempted. Alex goes on to check out everything and address Rick's concerns about the pistol. The process of firing this staghorn pistol is quite complicated. Rick boldly asks for the price.
How many did you say? 3?
I believe only 3 have ever come onto the art market, yeah.
So how much is the wheel lock?
The wheel lock's £140,000.
Okay. I think I'll pass on this one, but how much are these?
That's huge. Is Rick willing to pay that amount for both Scottish Highland pistols? Let's see how everything goes down.
No, Rick, I wouldn't take £80,000, but I would take £90,000 for.
Would you take $85,000? It's like $105,000 American.
I'll take £85,000. You have a deal.
All right, sweet.
Just bought those.
What could Rick be looking for in Italy? He's probably on the hunt for something. Rebecca has told Rick about a certain book, and Rick is desperate to find it. He goes into this particular bookstore to see if they have what he's after.
They ended up ordering all of his books destroyed, so only a few exist anywhere in the world. Giordano Bruno. He was the first one to say that the universe is infinite, and the church did not like any of that. So in 1600, he was burned at the stake right where I'm standing.
Hopefully, they do. Rick is amazed by the sheer number of books the owner Leone has. Let's see if Leone has what Rick is searching for.
Start an early edition of Machiavelli, The Prince.
That'd be pretty amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. So what year is this?
In Venice, 1544.
Okay, Rick asked him about the first edition of the Giordano Bruno book. It looks like today is Rick's lucky day. The way the book was stored indicated its significant value. Leone then went on to share what he knew about the book.
The Giordano Bruno is a very, very rare first edition, printed in 1587. I think there would be 50 copies known. This book is very, very rare.
This is a beautiful edition.
Interesting. Trust Rick to let others in on his knowledge. Who would have thought Rick would be in search of a forbidden book that was against the teachings of the Catholic Church? With the way he analyzes the book, Rick is about to take the book owner role. During their conversation, they mentioned that the book is a limited edition.
Very, very few of them remained. The last one I saw of this that sold was like 1903.
Yeah. I found it, yeah.
God, this is pretty amazing. All right, the big question.
Yeah.
How much do you want for it?
Let's see. Leone gives a price. Why does this little book cost that much? What is Rick's reaction to this?
I was thinking more like $80,000.
It's impossible like this.
I mean, what would be your best price?
110.
Rick really wants this book. How will he get his way around this? I'm sure Rebecca would be pleased if Rick purchased it. Watch out for the turnout of the bargaining.
I will give you $100,000 for it.
Let's do this deal.
It's been an amazing day. I am going to go get the wire transfer figured out. I would shop more.
A trip without getting to check stuff out perfect. That's not Rick's style. While on a business trip, Rick decides to check out some items. He goes to see some classic English cars up for sale. Let's see how this goes.
So I've been in London on a business trip. It's been great. I figured I'm gonna go check out the English countryside. But then I got a tip on a guy selling some classic British sports cars. So Rick being Rick, I had to go check him out.
Cool. Peter believes that Rick will undoubtedly be interested in his collection. I'm curious to see what he has under his sleeves. What's Rick's reaction to this?
You can have a look at them by all means. I have a really good friend in America who actually knows Rick quite well. My friend said, could he come and look at my collection? And obviously I'd be delighted to assist. I've been collecting cars now for about 35 years.
What a sight. Rick's attention immediately goes to this Aston Martin car. It's the type James Bond rides, so it's little wonder Rick is all pumped up. The seller immediately dives into the details and features of the car.
Absolutely, it's just quintessentially English. The company was formed by a guy called David Brown, hence the unique number plate here, DB205. He wanted to win at Le Mans, so he decided to build the best car he possibly could. And all these models are all derivatives from the racing heritage.
Amazing. Rick goes on to check another one. Peter, the seller, points out that it is a Jaguar series car. He believes that it is the perfect buy for Rick. The way he describes everything, you would know he's good at what he does.
We've got on here ENZ, which is a homage to Enzo Ferrari because Jaguar wanted to beat Ferrari at Le Mans, and then they did. Enzo said this was the most beautiful car in the world. He's on record as saying that.
A test run? Hell yeah. Rick wants to check out the car to see if it works well. Is it to his taste?
Not only is it beautiful, it drives like a dream. It does drive shockingly well for a 60s car.
Oh, no, it's just amazing, isn't it? It's just absolutely
it really is. This is incredible.
So what do you think, Rick?
I think it's the smoothest 1960s car I have ever driven in my life.
We have yet to find out. Rick isn't interested in it, but this seller isn't ready to give up. So he proceeds to show Rick another one.
I do have something you may be interested in.
Okay.
The guy who owned this car was so special in your history and our history. This is what I wanted to show you. I've had it for 25 years, and every year I said I'm going to restore it. It hasn't been revealed in years.
What are we on to? Rick's reaction could tell it all. No wonder Peter has been saving this for the last.
I got it in an auction 25 years ago. I've just never had the time to restore it.
This is super cool. Yeah, he was one of the most incredible guys in history. I mean,
absolutely.
The UK wouldn't be the UK without him. He is, I wouldn't say single-handedly won the Second World War, but if without him, it would be a much different world right now.
Whoa, I wouldn't have thought it was a car Winston Churchill rode in. Most importantly, is Rick interested in it? Let's find out.
He was driven around in, he was chauffeur-driven, sat in the front, and on the side there you can actually see on the top of the dash, big cigar burn where he had his cigars.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I love it, but this should definitely stay in the UK.
In this episode, Rick visits his friend at his pawn shop. He wants to see if there is anything worth buying. However, Rick's friend has something special in store for him. Let's see what this is.
Long time no see.
You too.
This is little Mark. Hello. Hi, mate. Good to meet you.
How's it going?
Good, good.
So this is it, huh?
Yeah, that's it, mate. This is the little shop, little quite English shop, you know.
Okay, well, show me around.
Yeah, let's have a look round. I've known Rick for about 5 years.
Damn, what in the world is that little piece of metal? Is it a joke? Despite Big Mark's attempt to explain the rusted metal's significance, Rick was still perplexed. Just to satisfy his friend, he asks for the price.
This is a gem. I've had an offer on this a few days ago. If you can beat it, you can buy it off me.
How much?
How much do you reckon?
That's a number I have no idea on. I just don't. I mean, I've never tried to research a piece of the Titanic.
Did I hear right? Or did this guy just say the rusted piece of metal is worth 1.2 million? That's funny. Forget satisfying his friend. Rick isn't going to buy this.
Okay, so what else do you have?
Come on, that's a good piece. Imagine breaking it up into several pieces and put it into frames and sell. You'll make a fortune out of that.
Out of my price range. What do you got in like rock and roll stuff? All I know is I'm not dropping 1.2 million pounds on a chunk of metal.
I don't blame him for that at all. After that unbelievable scene, Big Mark shows Rick other things that might interest him.
I know you're a massive Elton John fan.
I'm an Elton John fan, yeah.
Elton John boots. These are original Elton John boots, as worn by him. They would suit you, sir.
Those are actually pretty cool.
Listen, hang on. Let's just stop there.
Interesting. He tries to convince Rick to purchase the Elton John boots. Was he able to successfully sway Rick into getting them? Let's find out.
Elton John is right up there with David Bowie, The Who, The Kinks. I mean, he was a massive major player in the 70s. He was one of the few people that could actually sell out a stadium.
They would actually look good in Vegas. That's a Vegas thing, isn't it?
Is Rick going to pay what he's asking for? I don't think so. They move on to bargaining. Let's see how it turns out.
Listen, we've known each other for a long time. £1,400. And you know that's a bargain, man.
So it's a deal, 1,200 pounds.
£1,400.
Meet me in the middle?
1,350.
1,300 pounds?
1,350.
1,300 pounds.
1,325, and that's the last thing.
Next, Rick and his traveling partner stop by a map house. Let's see what they find inside.
Do you have any maps of, like, I'm from Las Vegas. Any maps of the States or Western United States?
We do, yeah. The New World Americas are upstairs.
Okay, let's go take a look.
What people like about the maps is that they're rare, important documents.
Okay, luckily for Rick, this store owner has what he requested. He goes on to show Rick and even offers to show him more maps. Which one interests Rick?
I have no idea, but it's pretty damn cool.
I'll show you this. It is a map of North America from the Dutch Golden Age, the most famous and celebrated period of map making.
It's a tough decision here, but the seller doesn't intend to give up. So he shows Rick another map. You can tell this one intrigues Rick the most as he shares information on the map with his buddy.
Saw the inlet near Washington. It says,
yeah,
obviously it's an island.
Oh.
A map of North America from 1650 is just too rare to pass up. I will probably never see another one of these in my lifetime.
Interesting. After seeing all these maps, what is the next move? The seller met Rick's expectations. So what's Rick's final thought on them? The map of North America is it, but the seller brings in sad news. The price is fixed. Let's see what the next line of action is.
All right, so do you guys negotiate any?
We don't. We're a gallery and these are fixed prices, so no.
You should do some type of deal if you're spending so much money. $5,000 for one map, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, but it's...
Rick, Chum, and an expert are searching for a specific tank in the middle of a desert. This particular tank was used during Double Wio, making it more exciting. Finally, they arrive at their destination. Chum seems to be the most excited one here.
That's it right there. That's the Sherman.
Wow.
All right, we're here.
Look at that tank.
Holy that is amazing.
The tank the guys are looking at right now is an M4A3 Sherman.
Well, it's time to see this tank. Ron, the seller, provides the history attached to this item. Remarkably, this particular tank witnessed the Iwo Jima incidents. Rick finds this fascinating.
I look at it, I just find it incredible because, I mean, it's from Iwo Jima. I mean, it's like when they raised the flag on Mount Suribachi, I mean, it's probably the most iconic photo of all of World War II.
Well, guys, there's a major problem with this tank. It's made out of wood.
You know what that's for? The Japanese had magnetic mines, sticky mines that they would run up and stick to the side of a tank.
Nice. His expert goes on to answer Chum's question about why it was made of wood, but Rick's major concern is whether it works and fires well.
How much you want for this thing?
I'm looking to get $1.5 million.
Okay, but we get to drive it?
You can drive it and you can shoot it.
Pretty damn cool. You need to go call Corey. Tell him to come down here. He's not gonna want to miss this, okay?
All right.
Rick insists on giving it a test run before the negotiation. Guess who joins to see Rick ride this stuff? Corey.
Wish me luck.
You got it. No worries. Oh my God!
It's time. That's one explosive blast. Rick is quite courageous to have driven this woe. He seems super happy about it. Rick goes on to ask his expert his opinion on the tank.
What do you think, Alex?
I mean, it is what it is. It speaks for itself. Shermans are the most desired American tank from World War II. It runs well, fires well. It's got historical provenance from Iwo Jima.
We are good to go. Now, it's time for the agenda of the day. What could be the outcome of this? Is Rick buying this or not? Let's see how it goes.
Started discussing me buying a tank. I was thinking I could get into something like this for a couple $100,000 because they made like 50,000 of these, right?
A little more than that.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's got amazing history. Everything about it is absolutely great.
Rick and Chum got a lead on something they don't even know about. The seller didn't fill them in on some details, but they want to see what it could be. Let's find out what this is.
The OJ Bronco. It is the OJ Bronco.
Are you kidding me? I've never seen anything quite like this.
This is it.
Well, it's not the OJ Bronco, it's his buddy's Bronco, right?
That's right. It's the Bronco OJ was in the back seat of.
All right, you wouldn't believe your eyes. Are we talking about an SUV from the OJ Bronco? This car has many events attached to it, and I can't wait for Rick to share his knowledgeable stories about it. Get ready to see how things go for Mark and Rick.
I would like to be able to sell the Bronco and then take that money and give it to my children.
So how did you get this thing?
At the time of the Bronco chase, I was OJ's agent.
Amazing.
There's some people that were going to sell the Bronco to a company called, I think it's Graveline Tours, and they were going to go up and down the freeway.
Nice. Trust our man, Rick, to do what is necessary with his stories. Chum stares at both men as they go on and on with the stories. They seem to be enjoying themselves. Here comes Rick's question.
This is like an early 90s Bronco, right?
Yeah, 92, low mileage.
How many miles on it?
About 36,000.
So is that the same license plate that was on it when...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in fact, if you pull up photos, you'll see AC sitting here.
Rick needs to have this car on the road to test it. What a moment here. He wants to have the experience. They go on to talk more about the incident leading to O.J. Bronco's death.
Right behind all the cops, the helicopters.
Amazing.
It was very surreal.
There's a glove back here.
No, there's not.
Do you think OJ wore a seatbelt?
I highly doubt. Yeah, he was laying down, oddly enough.
That's emotional. So far, everything seems to work well. Chum Lee is bothered that Rick is driving too fast. Oh boy, is he that scared? I would be too.
Rick, you're going too fast.
It's going 40 miles an hour.
All right, well, it feels fast. I'm in the moment.
I'm definitely intrigued. The problem is, putting a value on this thing is almost impossible. There hasn't been another one that is sold.
Now let's get down to business. What is this seller's price? Will Rick opt to pay $1,500,000 for this? The atmosphere is already tense, so what will Rick do?
Here you go, chum. All right, so, how much you want for this?
$1.3 million. Yeah, think about it. It's a one of a kind. You know where you were when this was on the 405 freeway.
I'm eager to see. Let's begin the negotiation. Will Rick go home with this SUV? Let's see.
You might get that or even more at auction. I'm gonna pass on it.
Okay.
With something like this, it's so much of a gamble because there's nothing to compare it to its price.
Right. I'll never sell the Bronco for under $1 million. I know it's worth.
In this scene, Rick heads to New York after hearing about a particular document. He wants to uncover what it entails, so stay glued.
There it is.
Definitely a wow moment.
A wow moment, right. This is an extremely rare July 1776 printing of the Declaration of Independence.
This is absolutely amazing.
Okay, what a wow moment. Rick gives the pleasure of explaining the contents of the Declaration of Independence. He states how it was printed and circulated. Let's hear what more he has to say about this.
Correct.
That's the way the internet worked back then. I mean, it was a little bit slower. So, I mean, like 10 days later, people in New Hampshire are finding out about this.
Right.
A week or two later, it's probably in the Carolinas. And eventually, everybody knew about it.
All right, so how much does Jeremy want for this? A whopping amount of $2,200,000. That's massive. However, before concluding anything else, Rick wants to authenticate this item.
I just want a document expert to look at it.
Sure.
I have one coming down, best document guy in New York. Once he says everything's the real deal, we'll go from there, okay?
Sure.
Because a little bit of knowledge can always get you in trouble, and that's what I got.
Smart move. Now that the expert is here, he examines the item. Is it truly the signed copy of the Declaration of Independence? Let's hear from him.
But that was actually done a month later, really as a souvenir. The word had to get out by these printed documents. So there were a couple hundred printed on the night of July 4th to 5th. They're sent out by John Hancock.
Anyway, Rick seeks the expert's appraisal of the item. Does it match Rick's expectations? Let's see how it all plays out.
All right, so he said it was, it could be worth $2 million. Whenever you hear on the news something selling at an auction for a lot of money, that's the headline number. There is a ridiculous amount of fees. I would love to give you like $1.4 million.
Nice. Now here comes my favorite part, the negotiation. Let's see how it works out.
1.45, I think that's fair. I think we can both be happy with that.
I think we got a deal.
Oh my goodness, I own the Declaration of Independence.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I will get the money wired to you.
Patrick welcomes Rick to his place. He intends to show him his fabulous basketball collection. Let's see what this seller has to offer.
All the 5 World Series they won with Babe Ruth. And this one is the first and earliest Babe Ruth signature that we know of that's out there on a baseball.
That's incredible. And we have the world's largest baseball card.
These items are not only regular baseball items, but also signed ones. Moreover, they are not signed by just any baseball player, but by the greatest players in history. That's really amazing.
477th home run. Why don't you put that glove on right there?
Yeah, I mean, he's Mr. Baseball in Boston. Oh, he wrote all over it. That's really cool.
All over it.
Home run number 477, June 24th, 1958.
Rick is short of words. Patrick explains each item on the table, ranging from the ball to the card, the letter, and so on. Now, how much is the seller wanting to sell them for?
So gloves off, what is the price of the Ted Williams ball?
Our team will accept $50,000 for that ball.
Okay. And the world's largest baseball card?
We're asking $175,000 for that.
Okay. It's a little bit pricey.
After stating his offer, Rick wants to bring a buddy to authenticate all the items. He points out that these were items from the Hall of Farmers and further sheds more light on the letter.
Pete Runnels was a pretty good ball player in his own right and a former teammate of Ted's. So it's says my father, Pete Reynolds, and Ted Williams were teammates. On June 29, 1958, Ted Williams hit his 477th career home run.
Great story. The expert did an excellent job of answering Rick's concerns. Now, it's time for the appraisal.
You have two great pieces here, Rick. These are museum quality. So the first one, obviously Cy Young, just focusing on this, how incredibly rare it is. I could easily see this going for $200,000.
Oh boy, it's almost close to Patrick's price. Is Rick going to take all or go for some? We need to know.
I will give you 175 grand.
For all of it.
For these two right here.
I'm sorry, I absolutely cannot do that. Our price is $2.25 right now.
And your best price is?
Here, Rick and Chum are hunting for a boat for their client. They are checking out a vintage sports boat. Let's take a look at this ride.
Hey, Skipper.
It's Rick Harrison. We talked on the phone? This is Chum.
Hi, Chumley. How are you? Welcome to South Florida. This is Sam 5. It's a 1964 Rybovich.
Cool. Bob just wants to sell the boat. Let's see how Rick feels about this particular boat. He goes ahead to enlighten Rick about the boat.
Today, we're developed by the Ryboviches. This chair was designed specifically to support catching fish up to 1,000 pounds. It's bolted down through the hull so that it won't get ripped out.
Nice. The seller shows Rick and Chum every corner of the boat, and it sure is one intriguing luxury boat. Here, take a look.
You could live on this.
We do. My wife and I cruise this for months at a time.
This is beautiful.
I'm ready to hit the water. Are we going to test drive this thing or what?
Everything about this boat is absolutely amazing.
Please tell me you're not letting him drive.
That's a good one. They all went ahead to have a spin on the water. They had a swell time, but it's now time for the main agenda for the day. Is this actually within Rick's client's budget? Let's see.
Hey, what's your best price on it?
Well, I'm listing at $379.
Can you go 340?
I really can't.
It's an amazing boat. Will you take 350?
I can't do 350.
This next guy walks up to Rick with a celebrity-owned and autographed shirt. Yes, and this shirt belongs to the one and only Michael Jordan. Sweet. Let's hear what Rick has to say.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, how you doing?
Pretty good. What do we got here?
I have a Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the history of space and time, game-used jersey.
A game-used jersey for Michael Jordan.
And autographed across the front with a certificate of authenticity from the Chicago Bulls.
Cool. Here come the stories. Michael made his fortune from his branded footwear. So, Brad offers $150,000 for this, but before Rick makes any move on it, he wants to call in the expert.
Michael Jordan, he was the first mega sports star to basically become a billionaire.
Yes, his salary actually was never that much for the NBA, but his work with Nike, Champion, Wilson Sporting Goods.
His mega fortune is from the shoes.
All right, the expert arrives and checks the authenticity of the signatures. There can be fakes out there, so we need to be sure we are dealing with the real thing. After a thorough check, the expert says it is authentic.
I'm pretty familiar with this stuff. So the one thing about Jordan, though, and you're going to have your concerns, obviously, is heavily forged, heavily duplicated. Let's flip this around. I want to take a look at it. Obviously, with something like this, it's going to be a fiber tip marker that's going to go on here.
Now that is out of the way, let's get down to the price. The men go back and forth on the price, which gets tiring. Will they end up striking a deal or not? Let's find out.
I'll give you 90 grand.
Okay, no way I'm going to be able to take that low for this jersey.
So what would you take?
I mean, I'm asking 150. I mean, if you're in the ballpark, I'd consider it, but I'm not going to be able to do anything near that low.
I mean, I'd go 100. I mean, I got to make money off the thing.
I understand.
Rick and Chum land in Rome, Italy on a trip. They came to authenticate an item purchased from a customer at the pawn shop. I hope they get the answers they are looking for.
On your company card, don't worry. And we're going to go get this Zucchetto checked out. You're going to be really proud of me once you realize how well I did.
This wasn't a lot of money, was it?
I don't know. I put it on your credit card.
Yay! They meet Father Josh, whom Chumley believes is the best man for the job. He explains the origin of this Zucchetto, which is owned by Pope Pius V.
He wanted me to meet up with him today here in Rome to authenticate that item.
You know, I called you down because I wanted you to look at this Zucchetto.
Okay. Do you know what a Zucchetto is?
I was told it was a zucchini.
Well, you know, you're not too far from the mark.
Interesting. Did it truly belong to him? He goes on to carefully examine the item. Let's see what he has to say.
Usually you'd find that with the Holy Father. And so, no doubt that belonged to Pope Pius XII.
That's good news. We got an amazing Zucchetto from Pope Pius XII himself.
Okay, pretty amazing.
Do you know how much this would be worth?
Great. It's confirmed legit and of good worth. That's great news. Thank goodness Chum won't get an earful from Rick for purchasing the wrong item.
$3,500.
Okay, well, you heard the man. Father says this is a holy relic. It's worth more than I paid for it, but I don't think we're going to be able to sell this, Rick. I think we're going to have to put this on display in our shop.
Rick meets Alex on the streets of London. Alex wants to show Rick the proof house of the gunmaker's company, where guns are being tested. It sounds like we are in for something good.
Demonstration and tour.
That's cool. So let's go get out of the cold.
Hi, Rich.
Hi.
Hey, this is my friend Rick.
Hey, how's it going?
Please come in. I'd like the wife to come in.
Okay, so this is where
it's all done?
This is where the action happens. It's where we've been testing guns since 1673.
All right, they proceed to meet the proof master, the person in charge of overseeing the quality arms. He goes on to explain the proofing process.
Legal requirement, before it can be sold or even offered for sale, it comes through the proof house, including military arms, you'd be interested to know.
In the process of proofing a barrel, has it changed much in 350 years?
Very little has changed. We still go through exactly the same procedure.
Cool. Rick is permitted to fire this gun, so let's see how this turns out.
So it's fired by a simple piece of string. So rear defender's on, and we'll fire the gun. Okay, please.
Whoa!
You've now successfully proof tested a gun.
That's really crazy. The next step is to inspect the barrel to see if it is ready to be marked. I'm sure Rick is glad to have experienced this.
So we'll go ahead and mark it.
So what marks do you put on it?
We'll have a date at the bottom, so the LP over a 2-digit date code.
So is LP stand for London proof?
Yes, it does. We'll then have the bore diameters, the chamber length,